And Boot It Branch, your number one fan, and Melbourne Airport. Nothing beats Melbourne Airport's terminal parking. Book online. Tom Morris and Dermott Brereton stepping in for Kane Corns and David King. It's sort of a like for like, isn't it, Derm?
No.
You and Kingy and me and Kane?
No.
No, not at all.
No, we love them, but we don't want to be like them. Hey, we're getting a little bit of text activity as well. Derm doing mornings, wondering if it... No, let's not read that one.
No, you've got to be careful what you read, Derm.
Yes.
Hey, give us a text on the Temper 40 Winks text line, 0433 98 11 16. 40 Winks serious about sleep, or on the IMAR Insurance open line. Give us a buzz, 1300 736 736. Plenty of topics to cover. We're going to get to some trade news in a few moments' time. But the biggest story of the week has been Clayton Oliver, and the situation at the moment is that the ball is in Clayton's court. It is up to Clayton how he wants to respond to Melbourne's, list of demands and requests about his professionalism and the way he goes about things and his commitment to deal with the issues that he's been seeing and enduring for a long time now, or most of the season. Derm, you've watched this from afar this week. What have you made of the Clayton Oliver saga, I guess?
It's hard to put a finger on it from the outside, of course it is. But the first thing I heard was Melbourne was saying he needs to present in a better condition and the likes. And I thought, hang on, this is Melbourne again. They did this 4 years ago. They said this about Stephen May, and yet the first game he trotted out Stephen May, he was their best player and became their most important player at that stage. So I thought, is it their scare tactics to get this through? But now that I see that the 26-year-old Clayton Oliver has moved in with Max Gawn, I thought, if you're 26 and you move in with somebody, if you strip that back, you need to learn something. You either need to learn what you aren't doing or what you are doing that is not giving you the best chance to be the best version of yourself as a sporting footballer. So he's now come to, you would suggest then, if he's done that, he's come to the realisation that, hang on, I haven't given myself the absolute best chance to be the best I possibly can.
So Max Gawn is living with his wife and their young baby, and I think his partner, his wife, is pregnant as well with their second. And Gawn's off to New Zealand tomorrow for a Bucks party.
How do you find out this stuff?
So as a result, Clayton Oliver's going to be living there at the time that he needs support the most, and Gawn will go away for a couple of days, which is no criticism of him whatsoever.
So and Dwayno said he spoke to him like in an on-air interview, on-stage interview, grand final morning, and he said that he got the feeling that Clayton Oliver needed an arm around him and felt a little disenfranchised.
The word was disconnect. The word was disconnect. Okay. Hey, this is conversation starters for OMF. The OMF big spring sale is on now with up to 60% off selected mattresses. So in your experience in football clubs, where do you find that balance between wrapping your arm around a player and setting the standards so that they know that certain behaviours are unacceptable?
It has to come from somebody who is totally respected. So you've got Goody, who's probably at the forefront doing that, making those comments, and making those requests to Clayton, and Simon's had his own personal issues as well. So that would seem a little bit difficult to take if I was in Clayton's position, unless he's all in. And it sounds like he's got back to the stage where he's all in for this, wanting this to work. And having said that, people can make mistakes and they can still be great people, like Goody can and is. But it does taint the message a little bit.
Yeah. So the situation with other clubs at the moment is they're waiting. So the Adelaide Crows are very, very keen on Clayton Oliver, and they haven't been told officially that he's off the market. St Kilda believe that he's staying at Melbourne, but it haven't been told officially.
Yep.
Essendon Football Club is also waiting. They have the salary cap space, but probably not the draft capital. So why the Crows are appealing is twofold. Darren Burgess is the fitness boss there, has a very good relationship with Clayton Oliver, who has had a, let's say, mixed relationship with the fitness people at Melbourne this
Well,
year.
we saw that footage where he demonstratively questioned the finding of that fitness test out on the Gosh's paddock.
And that links to the disconnect that Dwayne Russell referred to a couple of days ago.
Commentary then. It would seem then if you wanted to delve deeper into it, it seemed for such a gun player, a champion player, is he as solid in the mind as we assumed him to be because he's so emphatic the way he plays? Perhaps he is like some others that need a bit of a cuddle emotionally, need to be bunked up. I know that when Goody actually, after the game against Hawthorn, really savaged Finn McGuinness.
I remember that, yeah. About tagging, not wanting
the football. I thought, that's weird. That's really weird that you would savage an opposition player who's fulfilled his end of the request from his coach to the nth degree. Why would you... I mean, we as commentators sort of can make assumptions, and some of them might appear disparaging and might be viewed as downgrading a player's capabilities at that stage in time. But coaches are sort of above that, aren't they? Unless they get a real bee in their bonnet about something, unless they have an axe to grind. I just thought that was weird that he came out and did that. Perhaps he felt that Clayton needed some form of verbal acknowledgement that, it was weird.
It was a bit out of character from Goody, but also I do like it when coaches say what they're thinking. So they get asked a question in a press conference.
I've got no problem with that. I agree with you there. It's just unusual. It's just unusual. Yes. They don't do it often, and we'd love it if they did, and we'd have less of this, this was unusual. This was, we'd have less of that conversation. But, we do like it when they do, so we're not wanting to stop them. Yeah. Please keep coming forward with that.
So where do you see Clayton Oliver's future?
At Melbourne. He'll play at Melbourne. He's too good a player it's so hard to get champion players playing for your club, whether you recruit them as kids yourself and you groom them and you put time into them and you get them up to that standard. And those champion players are high-end draft picks, or it costs you the farm to get them into your club. So I think, and when they have that sort of price tag, you can pay them top dollar yourself, and it'll cost top dollar plus for somebody to crowbar them out of your club. So if you've got them there, do everything you can to appease them, make them better, but you can't let the tail wag the dog. Some clubs have fallen for that syndrome in history, and it's hurt them.
Well, you look at Melbourne trading out Jesse Hogan. You look at Melbourne trading out Jack Watts. Clayton Oliver is another level on top of that. He's a 4-time best and fairest. And the interest from other clubs has been growing rapidly because they felt that there could be a chance that he could be available and that Melbourne was open to it.
He's an easy fix. You imagine if he walked into Geelong's midfield. Imagine if he walked into Fremantle's midfield.
Essendon's midfield.
Absolutely. He'd be exactly what Essendon wants. So he is an easy fix. And some of these teams will say, let's cough up 1.2, 1.4 million a year for him. It'll cost us overs to get us there. But sometime in the future, if you read a record book and you see it and it says 2024 Premiership, Essendon, Fremantle or whoever it is that procures him, if he is gettable, it's worth it.
So we've got a Twitter poll now for Choices Flooring. Bring health to your home this spring with Spaces for Living sale. Do you expect Clayton Oliver to be playing for Melbourne in 2024? We'll follow the poll throughout the morning. Choices Flooring, Spaces for Living catalogue. Save on carpet, timber, hybrid, vinyl, window furnishings and rugs. I've always said that I still expect him to be at Melbourne in 2024. But
so would I.
It's pretty tenuous there for a while. And I think you speak to people at Melbourne and around the situation, they understand that this is delicate.
Yeah. If he's moved in with Max, though, he's made a major step to say there's rectifications in my lifestyle I need to address. This is the first step. So I doubt you'd lift up, move your life into a new abode and say, no, I've changed my mind, I'm going.
Yeah.
You're not doing that.
Yeah.
He's staying at Melbourne, so he's shown that he wants to bring his side to the equation.
Give us a call on Clayton Oliver, 1300 736 736 on the IMAR Insurance open line. Hey, what did you make of Aaron Norton signing an 8-year extension at the Western Bulldogs?
It's hard to look at for players, ex-players of my vintage, because we knew that's fraught with danger because of the injury element. But the injuries that we used to, endure and suffer that would end a career are now rectifiable within the space of 12 months. So 8 years gives you coverage and security against it. There's still career-ending injuries, no problem. So that's lessened that aspect of doubt when you go for a really long-term contract. But a player like this, you've now got him away. You don't have to worry about other clubs trying to come for him. He's yours. You get to. I know what you're about to say.
You know what I'm about to say.
Yeah, he's yours now, and you get to control that entity for the club's best benefit. You'll still do the right thing by the boy, and you'll still support him and want him to play his best football and be the best version he can, but you actually control that piece of equipment now, if I can call the player a
But that's
piece of
what we would have
equipment.
said about Brodie Grundy at Collingwood and Adam Treloar at Collingwood. So it doesn't preclude a trade in 4 years' time.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The club.
Yeah.
But those boys, most of them, those, especially Brodie Grundy, is the club that's pushed him out when they've readdressed the situation. So they get to control the agenda of their own list there.
Yeah. Let's take a call from Billy in Ascot Vale. Billy, welcome to the show. You want to talk about that man, Clayton Oliver?
Yeah, morning, Jack. Just quick for Dermy. Just regarding this Clayton Oliver issue, I'm just arguing with the fitness guy. It seems a bit over-fetched for Melbourne to react this badly. Sure, there's nothing more sinister about what he's done, or has he affected some other teammates in some way or something? I just can't comprehend that arguing with the fitness guy can lead to such massive drama and so much hatred at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know if you could call it hatred, Billy, but the one thing, having been in those situations and seen this, I have in 16 years of being on AFL lists, I've never seen a player argue vehemently and almost to the point of denigrating the decision made by the fitness advisor. I can see them question it and
So you've never seen that sort of behaviour?
No.
Really?
Never saw it at Hawthorn. No. Never.
Yeah, aren't these...
Never. You would see somebody, you'd see the doctor do tests, or the surgeon would come in, Pete Wilson, Barry Gavin, great men who were unbelievably good and brilliant at identifying and working out the length of the severity of injuries, and they would say, no, another week. And they could do that in the medical room, and then the player said, but I feel all right, Doc. And they'd turn around and say, no, you need one more. Now, and they'd be disappointed.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm good.
Staggered at that. I'm staggered at that.
I've never heard it. Never heard
staggered.
it.
I feel like these conversations, I defer to you, but I feel like these conversations and strong discussions would happen all the time between players and
possibly could at other but that's
not in your experience.
Kind of cultural. If I walk into a club as a 17-year-old kid, 18-year-old boy, and I see a senior player who's played 200 games speak poorly, to a club official, whether it be medical or whatever department, what's the likeliness that I'm going to do that?
Fair enough. It's a valid point. More trade news to come. Jade Gresham, Dylan Shiel, some news around Devon Robertson as well from last night. We're going to talk about Callum Mills too, who was at the Sydney Swans best and fairest last night, and his incident with a teammate on Mad Monday, always dangerous Mad Monday, Derm. In for Kane Corns, I think it's probably fair to say. I never thought I'd say that. And Dermott Brereton in for David King.
I do like to read out when they're well thought out ones that have a crack.
On the Temper 40 Wings text.
You didn't see any arguments at Hawthorn, Derm, with the fitness staff because you were looking in the mirror all day. He went on to say some rubbish after that, but I think that's quite funny. Well done.
Hey, let's take some more calls on Clayton Oliver. Big Jack in Doncaster wants to talk about the Melbourne superstar. Welcome to the show, Big Jack.
Hello there, where's Dermy? It's Big Jack here, former president of the Carlton Football Club.
You're calling from heaven, are you?
No, Big Jack, no, Derm. I'm calling from somewhere else. I'm down here with Big Dick Pratt, and the landlord breaks for the Demons. He doesn't believe in aircon. Anyway, now, Dermy.
Yes.
What's good for Carlton is good for the AFL.
Right, okay.
This Oliver Clayton, or whatever his name is, his real problem. He's stuck with a minnow club like the Sheemans. He needs to come to Carlton. We'll give him Ed Curnow. What do you think?
You give him Ed Curnow. Right, okay. You want a bag of gold for a warm beer? Yeah, right, okay. Well, I'm not trying to be disparaging to Ed Curnow, but yeah.
Probably not quite.
Yeah,
I
don't think that's going to get it done, Big Jack from Doncaster. It's not Mario from the service station as well, is it?
Derm, we've got someone from your neck of the woods, from Franga. Adam from Frankston wants to talk about Oliver and the Bombers.
Hey, Adam.
G'day, Dermy. G'day, boys. How are we?
Good, man.
I'm just thinking Oliver would be a couple of things. Oliver would be the perfect fit at the Bombers ever since we lost Watson. I don't know why we haven't gone hard for a big body midfielder like Cripps, Fife, etc. We seem to be missing him. And Dermy...
Langford was meant to be that player, but he's turned into a good forward
and
for you.
And Dylan Shiel as well.
Yeah.
Right. And Dermy, talking about peak football, we've met a few times over the years, but my fondest memory would be up in Gembrook on the potato farm, Warrior Alec versus Wandon. What a great game it was.
Yeah, that was with Monkey. Yeah, wonderful league that. Great people play up there. Thank you, Adam.
Well done, Adam.
Awesome.
Just on Essendon, they've got the salary cap space, and they've certainly got the need and the want for that sort of player.
That war chest they've been talking about for a couple of years.
They got money to spend. I mean, if you look at who they're getting in Todd Goldstein, could happen as early as today with free agency opening. Getting in Ben Mackay, which probably won't happen today unless North Melbourne don't match the offer, but it will happen over the next few days. Jade Gresham will 100% nominate Essendon
It's
as his club of
amazing how
choice.
some coaches come in and they look at a player and devalue him straight away, and some overvalue players within the list that haven't been given it a real chance. It looks like Ross has done that with Gresham. There's something in his game that he's devalued his worth.
Well, once you make a decision on a player, it's probably hard to go back on that decision. I think it's probably best for Jade Gresham if he moves on. Probably best for St Kilda as well if they get some good compensation for him.
Really fair-minded coaches can do that and then re-step over their decision. Sam Mitchell did it with James Warple.
Yeah.
You dropped him last year and gave him very little time, and he became a prominent player this year.
Just on Jade Gresham, so the hold-up for him nominating Essendon is just around how much Essendon need to pay him to get the right compensation back to St Kilda, because, of course, that deal with Dylan Shiel is probably... executing a loophole in the system, which is, according to the people I speak to, absolutely play on, but it's something that the Bombers need to work through. But he does want to go to Essendon, Jade Gresham.
So for those of us who just joined this conversation of Gresham, St Kilda to Essendon, Shiel is a possibility to go to St Kilda. Could that be done as a straight swap so it's less messy, or it couldn't?
Well, it could be, but it won't be. So it would be Gresham to Essendon in the free agency period.
Yep.
And then Shiel to St Kilda in the trade period. So it's a bit of a grey area.
So they want to keep their pick.
What would happen is Essendon would pay Gresham enough to warrant a Band 1 compensation to go back to St Kilda, and then St Kilda would use that draft pick on Liam Henry or whatever they wanted to use it on, and it would free up salary cap space for St Kilda because Jade Gresham is off their books, and Dylan Shiel would come in and give them some more midfield run.
Fair dinkum. Hawks, we got a chock wedge for Lance Franklin.
We'll talk about the free agency after the break. Steve from Collingwood stay with us, and Jim from Doncaster talking about Clayton Oliver. Derm, Marbio Chol has requested a trade to Hawthorn. Do you like that?
Yes. Yeah. Well, Hawthorn, if Mitch Lewis goes down, it means they've got no one. If Mitch Lewis has a start to the season like he did in 2023, doesn't get out there for half a dozen games, 7 or 8 games, it means they'll trot out probably the 18th most potent forward line or functioning forward line of each round. So they need a second target.
So the Hawks offered 4 years for Chol, who's already got 2 years remaining at the Gold Coast Suns, plus a trigger for a 5th season.
Yeah.
Long-term deal.
Now, there's ifs about it because Mabior Chol has shown over the journey he's really talented. But he's shown at times also that he's non-competitive through effort and I won't say fitness, but his want to actually get to the next contest is not breaking the bank of energy reserves.
No, that's right.
So he's at the age now. If you take it where you look at it like ruckman take longer, even though they're wanting him as a key forward, pinch hitting the ruck. Let's go with the mentality as a ruckman. It takes a while for the penny to drop.
And the unintended consequence of Chol getting to Hawthorn means that Adelaide now need a tall, so Elliot Himmelberg can get to GWS because they're not going to send Himmelberg to GWS, who's contracted at the Crows, unless they can get in a replacement. And Chol was going to be that replacement. And the Crows offered 3 years with a trigger for a 4th.
Can't they see that Riley Tilthorpe can be that player? Or do they want him to be a pure stay-at-home
I think more so.
forward?
Yeah, I think they feel a bit short of that ruck forward position.
It's really interesting to watch teams and the strategies they apply. Everybody wants to improve their list. Some will do it by selling the farm to get talent in, and some will go on what we would call the trash and treasure hunt over this trade period. Now, let's look at Collingwood. And what they did last year was awesome and has helped them net a premiership for 2023 just recently. But that was a trash and treasure hunt. And some of it was good fortune. Some of it was well manipulated and well planned. Oleg Markov, they actually had him and said no thanks and walked away. And then they get an injury to one of their listed players.
Charlie Dean.
Yeah, and then he comes back. So that's good fortune. Yeah. But they did identify him to give him a chance and training with them. And so Billy Frampton back up, thinking, the tall ruckman-ish. Penny might have dropped for him how to play. And they had a few good gets like that. And they had one targeted player, and that was Daniel McStay.
As a free agent.
Yeah, who didn't get out there on Grand Final Day because of injury. So... yeah, they almost, that one target player, the rest was like a trash and treasure. They viewed other people's trash and said, that's our treasure. And they got it. And they were treasurable by the end because they played in grand finals and they did incredibly well, and all power to those boys.
And others in previous years as well, with Darcy Cameron in the ruck and even Will Hoskin-Elliott, who came from GWS.
But he was fancied as a talent, Will Hoskin-Elliott. So some teams will look at it. So we're seeing players battered up now that are other people's disco. So whatever way you mentioned Billings, Gresham, whatever way you look at it, he is devalued by what St Kilda believe right now. So he's gettable to other teams, and they're viewing him more highly than we assume that the St Kilda coaching panel are viewing him. So that's the trash and treasure sale. And then you have to, once you get a few of these land and you get a framework into your list, so to speak, you can then actually start to manipulate and work out, right, what are the absolute, and they'll have them pegged up on the board already. Where do we go to now? Which was our next target? Because they've got every what-if avenue covered. It's just a matter of what lands in these early few days, and then it's like a yes-no scenario in a graph. Yes, turn right, and we go for option A. No, turn left, and we go for option B. And so there's all these options that they go through. It's quite detailed and meticulous the way they go through it.
I'd love to see the whiteboard of these list managers around the league. I can imagine there'd be names all over the place and magnets being thrown over. And at St Kilda,
and then some teams are quite different too, Tom. Some will actually say, no, we want that position covered, but we also need a reserve player to cover that position, rather than just say we'll go for the one, because you get somebody in and they might get injured. And then you've got to take into account the long-term strategy, which is a Tom Doedee type scenario. Do we get Tom Doedee in? And he's probably not ready to go in the first half of the season.
He's not. He did his second ACL, but long-term he'll be okay, and that's why the Lions...
And great character too.
Great character, leadership group at the Crows, and that's why the Lions offered that deal to him, and that could be done as early as today, given that he is a free agent. That opens this morning.